Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Rob Placone.
Howdy, Jimmy.
All right. We got the shirt. So, I don't know what to make of this. So Jim Gaffigan's a funny comedian, right? I like Jim Gaffigan. He makes me laugh hard. There it is. Jim Gaffigan tweeting out, his big thing is the Hot Pocket jokes.
Yeah.
Hot Pocket. That was his big, but he's lots of jokes since then for sure. Making toast. I like this 20-minute thing on bacon. I saw him do that guy's funny.
Yeah, he's really done like the food thing.
He really has.
He nails it with the food stuff.
He
It's
does.
like, that's awesome.
Making toast counts. Making toast counts as doing cardio, right? Which is funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Pretty funny. Making toast. I say no. That sounds more like carbio. Get it?
Yeah.
Come on. So then someone named Bess Kalb, who seems like a very nice person, said, if Hillary won, this is what Twitter would be. No, I get that. I get why she says that. If Hillary won, this is what Twitter would be. And I say she's right. If Hillary had won, comedians that don't do political jokes would still not be doing political jokes.
I think that's pretty fair. Yeah.
So this is under the, and I'm not attacking Bess Kalb or whatever. I'm just this idea. Which is a very popular idea. I've seen this several times now on Twitter. I'm just using this as an example that everybody pretends that everything would be great if Hillary was president. Things were horrible. That's why we got Trump. You know, because people don't go on Twitter to talk about how horrible it is to try to be a worker in America. You know, all wage earners in America, half of all wage earners in America earn $30,000 or less. Half of all wage earners. Half of all Americans are poor or low income. Did you know that? Do you know that 40-some thousand people die a year due to lack of access to health care? Do you know Obamacare still leaves some 30 million people uninsured? Did you know all this? I mean, not you specifically. I mean, people who think this. Remember during the Obama years where everything was totally fine and nobody was disappointed, Ron? Remember
Yeah,
that?
nobody, there was never anything.
Never a problem.
I mean, Occupy, that happened during Bush, right? Like it was Bush that Occupy happened and
Right, because, you know, hope and change never really happened. Did you really hope that we'd change anything? Had Hillary won, a guy that makes a lot of food jokes would still be making them. Yeah, I think that's true.
yeah, it's astute. Yes,
If Hillary had won,
indeed.
that Jim Gaffigan would still be doing the same jokes. You're correct.
Can we also point out that, look, when you have two parties that are bought by the same people,
Yes!
a demagogue will inevitably happen. So if Hillary would have won, Trump or something like Trump would have won in 2020.
Yes.
That's it. So it's like, I mean, it's just such a lame point.
I mean, people don't realize that we've dodged a bullet. We got Donald Trump, an incompetent right-wing maniac. Imagine if we had a competent right-wing maniac who didn't shoot himself in the foot 5 times a day. So we were as Ron points out, we were on our way to getting a right-wing demagogue, because when both parties are owned by Wall Street, military-industrial complex, and big pharma, and nobody represents workers, the middle class, poor people, students, or anybody besides the 1% and white-collared suburbanites, you're going to get a demagogue. I'm not the one to predict that. Michael Moore said that. Chomsky said that. Paul Krugman said that. Paul Krugman, couldn't find a bigger Hillary supporter. He said that. He was saying that in 2015.
Yeah, none of those people have ever been right before about anything.
Right?
None of those people have ever called it before.
Paul Krugman said in 2015 that if the Democrats don't address income inequality, we are setting ourselves up for fascism. And here we are. So I understand, and I'm not upset. I'm not mad at Bess Kalb or is that her name, right?
Yeah.
I'm not mad or upset or trying to point a finger at you. I'm just pointing a finger at this sentiment that a lot of people hold on Twitter. So, if Hillary had won, she'd have ended white supremacy.
Yeah, I think that was first on her agenda. She was just gonna stamp that out.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a thing anymore.
She really cares about marginalized groups. Just remember how cool she was to those Black Lives Matters protesters.
Yeah, yeah. She was like, "Here's my mic. What do you have to say?" Oh wait, no, that was Bernie.
That was Bernie. She was like, yeah, go run for something. Right in her face. If Hillary had won, we could look for more bipartisan efforts to make the Affordable Care Act worse. If Hillary had won, we could look for all those bipartisan efforts to make tax cuts for the rich get implemented, but do it really subtly.
Oh, yeah, it'd be...
Yeah.
The picture would be painted really nicely.
If Hillary had won, Ron, we'd have 4 more years of disappointing most of the country before a demagogue potentially worse than Trump took over in 2020.
Bingo. Yeah, bingo. That's exactly what would have happened.
So, Jim Gaffigan, very funny. This idea that this goes to the Trump is the whole problem. The Democrats are great. Hillary's great. I guess I have to do this. Let me show you what Dylan Ratigan says.
The Democrats want you to believe that their party is, of course, wonderful and fabulous and wants to help save the world and all the rest of this. And they want you to believe that the only problem with the American political system is the Republicans and, more importantly, the corruption of the American political system and the Republicans by the Russians. This, of course, would be the most horrible thing that could come from the current political situation. Because if we allow the Democratic Party to convince anybody, ridiculous they've even convinced themselves, that the primary issue with the American political process is Donald Trump and the Republicans, that validates their capacity to sustain themselves in a disgusting and corrupt fashion. The reality is, the only reason we have Donald Trump as our president and these horrendous Republicans is because of the unadulterated failure and corruption in the Democratic Party. Think about how bad, how unappealing, how offensive Barack Obama and ultimately Hillary Clinton had to be to the American population in order for them to even remotely begin to choose someone like Donald Trump as a better alternative. Think about how bad people have to view the level of corruption in the Democratic Party to think of Donald Trump as a remotely preferable alternative. Donald Trump is terrible. The Republicans are offensive beyond comprehension. But the solution is not the Democrats. The solution is a final terminal bypass of these two utterly corrupt political parties. And the Democrats are desperately fighting to try to convince you and everybody else that the only problem is the Republicans and Trump, and that they are quite actually perfect in their own way, when they are the ones who are the biggest contributors to the Trump campaign and the Trump problem. The Democrats.
So there you go.
I don't know, Jimmy. I think if Hillary had won, Dylan would just be at brunch right now.
Ha!
He wouldn't have time to make that video.
So if Hillary had won, things would be worse. Things would be getting worse because we'd be setting ourselves up. Again, things are horrible. Quit pretending like Hillary Clinton wasn't a fucking shit sandwich to the nth degree, okay? Just stop it. Thank you.